Astrology Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, February 25th. Okay, so we have the moon in Virgo here all day. Of course, we are in recovery mode from that full moon in Virgo popping off here Saturday morning. The moon in Virgo, even aside from the fact that it was a full moon, which just intensifies the whole Virgo energy, it's about healing, fixing, repairing. We have to identify the problem, the issue, in order for us to feel it so that we can heal it. The Virgo energy wants to create order out of the chaos thus being Pisces season, our emotional realm, our spiritual realm, our intuition. This is definitely going to be a day that we could see a lot of lunar hangover symptoms, meaning feeling flu-like, having a cold, feeling low energy, but our inner realm, especially our mental plane, very much rapidly processing different perspectives, ideas, emotions, really pushing us to get a grip on what needs to be done in order for us to feel a little bit more organized in our lives, in our inner realm, in our external realm as well, and like we are ready to start putting the pieces together, plan a strategy on how it is that we plan on moving forward. I am going to encourage you to take a listen to the ascension forecast for this week. If you haven't downloaded your moon guide, you can still do that and kind of tap into those energies as well. Reason being, the energy will now dissipate. We just came out of a very intense 2-week energetic chapter, and now things need to settle. We need to process. We need to step back, really observe from a different set of eyes. And the moon in Virgo is going to help us do just that. There are 9 different aspects taking place here today. 7 of them are going to involve the moon. So I love the fact that we kick the day off with the moon in Virgo, making a very positive interaction with Mars. Mars is the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, yes, even our anger. Mars is in Aquarius energy, so we are thinking very futuristically, very visionary in what it is that we want for ourselves, what we're excited about, what we're passionate about, what it is that we want to pursue from here. And for those of you saying, well, I have no clue, let your anger be the guide. Anger, frustration, agitation that can come on in waves with Mars being in this Aquarius energy. Your anger and frustration will tell you what it is that you're done with, what it is that you've outgrown, what it is that you need to close the door upon. And from that, use your not so nice feelings, let's say, as a framework on what it is that you need to move away from. And of course, thinking of alternatives, what it is that you would prefer to move closer to. Now, emotionally speaking, I love this because this is a positive interaction, which means that we are creating some kind of order, some kind of realization in our inner realm on what it is that we want for ourselves, what we want to pursue, what we do have a desire to actually explore, research, and go after. That Aquarius energy that Mars is in, yes, we can connect the dots. Yes, we can have downloads, little glimmers of the vision that we want to be working towards. But intellectually speaking, this is kind of in the inner realm. We're not able to take action and make moves like we would like to out in the external realm, but we are kind of cultivating a new excitement, new passion, new desire, new inspiration, new motivation on what it is that we actually want to now start pursuing. So this is a beautiful vibe. Mars then goes ahead, makes a positive interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundation, willpower, discipline. Saturn's in this Pisces energy, so we are definitely having a hard time building in things because that water energy from Pisces just keeps on kind of crashing upon the foundation that we are trying to build. However, those waves, emotionally and intuitively speaking, they are really showing us where it is that the old structures, the old roles and responsibilities, the old belief system, those old dreams, those old visions, where they're being eroded in order for us to see where it is that the old version of self that is now kind of dissipating, where it is that some foundations and structures are going in the past, closing the door on that karmic chapter with that old version of self. Now, Saturn does bring in a little bit of a reality check, but this isn't going to be a bad reality check. Instead, it's kind of like we're grounded, we're anchored, we're rooted into understanding what it is that we now want to build towards. Mars is here. So there is this spark, this fire, this flame that we are cultivating within us. We do have passions, we do have excitement, we do have desires, either to pursue something new or to squash, close the door on something old. Either way, Saturn is giving us this, I'm going to say, healthy reality check on where it is that we have to get organized and store and really understand where it is that we do have to kind of disassemble, if you will, some foundation, some elements, some aspects of the old in order to clear the space, clean the slate, have a clean particular page, if you will, to start designing something new, restructuring our thoughts, our beliefs, our vision, our goals, our dreams. And this is us really bossing up to another level of power and authority within ourselves to understand where it is that now we need to lead the charge away from the aspects that we are no longer in alignment with, and really pushing the boundaries on how it is that we are going to build this beautiful bridge to get us away from where it is that we're at and closer to where it is that we desire to be. The moon in Virgo is then going to make a tough interaction with that North Node in Aries energy. And just a reminder, that North Node in Aries is trying to get us on the right path. That is our soul mission. That is the quest that we need to kind of now be initiating in order for us to reach new potential, new, I'm going to say, levels of awareness. And a lot of this is an independent solo journey on us kind of getting back to who it is that we are in our real, raw, authentic state. Well, this isn't a good interaction, which means that we're not really feeling so hot. We're not feeling so good, not feeling so strong. We're not seeing the path forward. Instead, we're focused on the problems. And as much as that sounds a little bit crappy to do, the moon in Virgo needs to identify the problem in order to fix it. We are in fixing, healing energy here in Pisces season and with this moon in Virgo. And so, again, it may not feel pleasant to be focused on the obstacles, on the blockages, on the challenges, on everything that is going wrong, but that is the first step on how it is that we're going to fix some of these particular aspects and really start resolving, repairing some of these issues so that we can move forward in this new path, in this new plan. The moon is then going to make an awkward interaction with Pluto. Pluto, of course, the great transformer himself, in the very beginning stages of this Aquarius energy, trying to show us, again, taking us on a little bit of a trip down a dark memory lane path in order for us to see very clearly where it is that the old programming, the old conditioning definitely needs a revamp. We need to renovate that. We do a deep dive in our psyche with that Plutonian energy. And again, the Virgo energy that the moon is in kind of represents that lower level intellect. So we're bringing something from our unconscious realm into our conscious realm. We're bringing a lot of the blockages, the challenges, the fears, the doubts, the insecurities out of our psyche, out of our egoic programming and conditioning in order for us to take a good look at what the problem is. Again, attempting to fix it, heal it, and repair it. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction with Venus. We love this because Venus, of course, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, she's in this Aquarius energy, just trying to do better, trying to improve, trying to see where it is that her heart is leading her in a different direction now. We love this particular interaction because it means that the Aquarius energy that is big and visionary, our heart space, again, really moving in our inner realm to visualize, conjure up new hopes, new wishes, new goals, new dreams, new visions for our futuristic selves. The Virgo energy is able to take that big picture and break it down into the finer details that actually make up that greater, grander vision. And so emotionally speaking, we're kind of dissecting, if you will, this goal, this vision, this dream, figuring out what we have control over right now in this present moment and where it is that we could create a little bit more order, more safety, more security, more stability in our emotional realm by having a different perspective and understanding on what it is that we want to build towards, especially in our relationships, relationship dynamics, especially where our money matters are concerned, especially in kind of opening up the door and realizing we have to put a little bit of extra effort into our day-to-day lives in order to have a little bit of fun, to enjoy ourselves a little bit more. The moon is then going to make a tough interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer. And so just when we were kind of feeling good about our futuristic visions, our to-do list, our wants, needs, and desires for our futuristic selves, suddenly, again, we have to kind of pull back. We have to sit in this present moment, take a good look around, and really identify, especially within ourselves, why it is that we're feeling not as equipped, not as well prepared, not as big, as bold, as brave, as powerful, as courageous as we feel like we should be for entering into a brand new chapter. So the wounds are being illuminated because this is not the best aspect. But again, may I remind you, even though it's not fun, even though it doesn't feel good, we have to feel it before we can heal it. And that is what the moon in Virgo is essentially trying to do, kind of rip all the scabs off, if you will, and really just kind of expose us to the wounds that we've been trying to heal that are still alive and well, and creating a little bit of a self-sabotage type of aspect in our lives. The moon is then going to trine, beautiful interaction with Uranus, the great awakener in this Taurus energy. And I absolutely love this. This is earth on earth energy. So we're logical and practical, and we're taking a good look at our physical body, at our physical lives, at the physical world in which we've created from our inner realm projections. Now, what I love about this is because Uranus kind of shakes us up and wakes us up and downloads us with new insight, aha moments, epiphanies that are going to change the game. This is a sudden shift in our perspective on what needs to change in our physical realm. Again, that earth energy, Virgo energy, Taurus energy, that is our physical realm. And so there is an epiphany, there is a bolt of lightning that is going to totally change our perspective on what it is that we need to change in our physical realm in order for us to not only have a reality that looks good, but that feels good as well. Again, very much in alignment with this new version of self. Venus is going to semi-square Neptune. Neptune, of course, in his place of Pisces. This isn't going to feel good. What this basically does for us is it puts us in a situation where we are seeing what it is that we want to see. We're not seeing life as it is. We're kind of moving into Delulu land, if you will. We're all kind of hopped up on imaginary land. And this is an element where, you know, it sounds fun. It sounds like, oh, when you live in Delulu land or imaginary land, like everything is rainbows and butterflies. Not necessarily. You can be living in an imaginary land, in Delulu land, with a negative perspective. You could be focused on all the wrong things. You could be over-exaggerating a situation that doesn't even exist. You could really find yourself kind of being lost in the details of reality and making up a horrible situation for yourself. May I remind you that many of us who, you know, go through the highs and lows of anxiety, all of that's doing is tapping into the negative side of imagination land. You know, you're going to think of all the worst case scenarios, all the different variables that could pop off. It never happens the way that we conjure it up in our mind space. But I thought it was important to kind of, you know, throw it out there and remind you that living in Delulu land and imaginary land can sometimes be a very scary place compared to the actual reality in which we're living in. So for better or for worse, we are living in this imaginary falsehood of imagination. If you are tapping into the rainbows and butterflies, good for you. This isn't going to be as painful as it would be if you're over here kind of conjuring up, you know, betrayal and paranoia and kind of focused on the dark kind of places in life. But either way, good or bad, it's not real. There is a delusionary effect here. Even more than that, we have a vagueness that takes over with the Pisces energy. We're not focused on the details. We kind of gloss over things because a lot of the finer details is what's going to make or break our current reality. And right now, we would prefer to live in Delulu land and imaginary land and not focus on reality and those details at all. And so I think it's important to just kind of remind yourself that wherever it is that this energy takes you, good, bad, or otherwise, it's not true. It's not reality. The truth and the reality are somewheres in the middle. And you have to use your intuition. You have to use your discernment. You have to use your self-awareness to really call yourself out on your shit. most of the times, and bring yourself back, anchoring into the physical body and having a realistic perspective, understanding, and approach to how life actually is, not the way that you are imagining that it actually is. Now, this could also trigger a lot of fears, doubts, and insecurities when it comes to our, I'm going to say relationship dynamics, but realistically, it's a me problem, meaning that our self-worth, our self-esteem is taking a hit. It's not necessarily that the relationship dynamics that we find ourselves in with certain people in our lives are making us feel that way. It is that we feel that way about ourselves and projecting those particular fears, doubts, and insecurities onto the other person, onto the relationship, and kind of stirring the pot, so to speak. So there is I'm going to say a worthiness issue that comes up with this particular aspect as well. And it just feels like we are running away from the truth. We're running away from reality, and we have a tendency to kind of hype ourselves up in all the wrong ways. So definitely look out for that very early evening. The last thing that we have going on here today is very interesting. We started the day off between the moon in Virgo and a positive interaction with Mars in this Aquarius energy. We're ending the day off with the moon and Mars coming together again, just not as favorable as we kind of felt earlier on in the day. So maybe this is the point in time, especially following that Venus and Neptune semi-square, where we're not feeling so hot, we're not feeling so self-assured, we're not feeling so, good about ourselves. We are likely to start with the tearing down of self, which of course doesn't feel good. However, it is part of the process. We are trying to lighten the load before we move into a new astrological calendar. We are in Pisces season. This is a time for acceptance and surrender and releasing and letting go and doing the shadow work. So we do have to expect that there are going to be dips in our mood, in our attitude, in our focus. This is one of them. The moon interacting with Mars in this way is kind of putting us in a situation to feed into our agitation, to feed into our anger, to feed into our frustration at this particular point. And because the Virgo energy, when aspected in a not so nice way, can be very overcritical, super judgmental, especially upon oneself, again, feeding off of that Venus and Neptune interaction, we're just not feeling so great. But again, may I remind you, we have to identify the problems in order to fix them. We have to feel it in order to heal it. And anger, frustration, and agitation can be super, super revealing on what it is that we need to move away from and what it is that we now have a desire to move closer to.